Hello, hello, and welcome to my thought on this lovely Saturday. It's very windy out, but what I'm noticing as I walk, because despite the lockdown rules, this neighborhood pays no attention whatsoever. And I'm seeing lots and lots of little children that are playing games, and they're walking, they're balancing, and they're walking on jungle gyms, and they're uh, playing ball, and they're throwing things and catching things. And I'm remembering how when I was young, it was very important to be able to work a yo-yo. I could never do that. I would try to it would never come up, which is pretty much the problem that I had with men. You were supposed to be able to bounce a ball. I could hit it once, but then it would come up and I wouldn't find it at all. Um, I couldn't even blow bubbles on bubble gum. I tried, and it would just snap all over my face. And one of the things that was really a disaster because children used to ride bikes, and I simply could not ride a two-wheel bike. I had trouble with a three-wheel bike, and I used to fall off all the time. So you would see this skinny little girl with big feet and scabs on her knees and on her nose, and I just was a wreck, and I did not fit in. The only thing I ever did as a child that I was successful at was reading, and I was an amazing reader. I learned to read when I was two, and I read every book in the public library by the time I was 10, the neighborhood public library, reading. But riding a bicycle was absolutely impossible. I kept falling off it all the time. So when I was about 16, I stopped trying. I gave up the yo-yo. I gave up the bubble gum. I gave up bouncing a ball. There was no good there. And I gave up trying to ride a bicycle. And I got my driver's license, which I was lousy at also. It took me almost a year after I got the license to be brave enough to drive the car. But I just gave up the bicycle completely, and I thought, okay, I'm going to see whether I can't be a little bit of a siren, a little bit of a vamp. And I tried to be sexy, which I was totally a failure at. Uh, and I was absolutely awful. I'm the kind that people would come to when they needed help on their exams or when they were having trouble with their girlfriends. But when it came to romance, I was a complete flop. And as I said, the only thing I was really good at was writing. I was reading and writing, those two things. So flash ahead, but I never did learn how to ride that bicycle. And it took me a year to finally figure out how to drive the car. And I was still treacherous on the road, absolutely treacherous. But the bicycle was completely beyond me. So flash ahead, oh God, 60 years, no, 50 years, because I was in my 60s. And I was seeing this hot Sicilian, and I really liked him. His name is Bob DeStephanos, and he has since gone. And what a shame. He was a loss for all of us. But he was really a hot, sexy guy. And we were talking about sex because that's what Sicilians talk about. That's just about all they think about. And he said to me, oh, I said, you'll never forget. It's just like riding a bicycle. And so I cooked him dinner. But perhaps that was why nothing happened. So when I look outside now and I see these children bouncing balls and I think, gee, they're going to be a social success. I never was. I was always just a reader. And I don't know whether that consoles other people that aren't social successes, but thank you very much for joining me for my endless thought on this Saturday afternoon.